You've heard our favourite top 5 comedy movies of all time. Well, let's carry on and find out some more of our top 5s. Next up, top 5 sitcoms of all time. Boys, this could be slightly different because, again, me and Tony, exactly the same age. Woody, not to make you always feel like the younger one, but you are. 10 years difference. How different is mine and Tony's list going to be? And how different is yours going to be to ours? Top 5s. Let's start this time down there. Tony, you can start with your number 5 sitcom of all time.
So number 5, I wouldn't be surprised if one of you two had this on your list and gave it a little more higher regard, is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh,
Number 5.
Oh, that's not on my list at all. I'm upset about that,
Okay.
but they're locked in, to be fair. They're locked in. Woody, number 5 sitcom of all time.
So I put this on and I searched it and it classed as a sitcom. It was The Simpsons. Now, what would you say? Would you say? Yeah, okay. So it's my
Definitely
number 5 is The Simpsons. I love The Simpsons. Classic.
Comedy, cartoon, half hour. I mean, South Park could be still considered as a sitcom. Family Guy could be considered a sitcom. Situation comedy, but just in a cartoon form. My number 5, and I don't even know if you know this, Rye, is it's cold outside. There's no kind of atmosphere. It's Red Dwarf.
No.
Not a clue, Woody.
More or less.
I can't remember the rest of the bit.
No, that's the only bit everyone knows.
Oh, I got in my head is then, girl, you got me tongue-tied. Woody's over there going, no idea what they're talking about. Red Dwarf is Craig Charles, Chris Barry, Robert Llewellyn, and Danny John Jules. A sitcom set 3 million years in the future on a spaceship called Red Dwarf. Comedy gold, mate. Okay. British comedy gold. Had to pick there. And that was number 5s. Number 4s, boys and girls, or just boys, whatever you consider yourself. I do not mind. What we got with Tony?
So I've got 2 British shows in my sitcom list, and this is the first one. It's Peep Show.
Peep Show, okay.
I've not seen all of it, but I've watched some of them. Like
I've watched quite a bit of it, and again, wouldn't have scratched my top 5, but I kind of see what sort of comedy you're into there, Tony. Woody, come on, what's yours?
My number 4 is In-Betweeners.
In-Betweeners. I knew one of us was going to have that on the list at some point, at least one of us. I was
be the young
one. I was umming and ahhing. I do love the In-Betweeners, but my number 4, I went straight for a boy and a girl, one from Wales, one from Essex, Gavin and Stacey. I absolutely love Gavin and Stacey. It is 10 years of working abroad, and that was my go-to series while I was abroad, as well as some of the others on my list. But Gavin and Stacey.
I've never seen an episode of it.
Get off this podcast.
Oh my God.
Get off this podcast.
I forgot about that.
Wow. Sorry.
Tony, we've got Tony's homework. Make him watch Gavin and Stacey. Absolute comedy gold, mate. Especially because it's if you're from southeast, if you're from near Essex, you're near London, Kent, the comedy is there because it's exactly that British humour mixed or English humour mixed with the Welsh humour perfectly. Okay, number 3s, boys. Where are we going, Tony?
So another British one here, Britcom. I think this might go into Woody's homework pile. Is Men Behaving Badly.
Wow, yes.
Not seen it, so yeah.
Do you know what? Have you heard of it?
I haven't, no.
2 men just having a few beers and having girlfriends, basically. It's just proper British drinking comedy.
Yeah, and
absolute go.
It, almost like you just described it there. Yeah, like each episode has something to it story-wise, but also nothing to it. It is just so ordinary. Like there's nothing bombastic or huge going on. Just guys in a flat mainly.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So listen, your list is getting bigger and bigger for Woody's homework.
Yeah.
For me, number 3, and this is I was surprised that I put him on the list, the main actor, but I realised like this is one of them shows that I cannot stop laughing at. Ricky Gervais Extras. That fucking show is something I could watch any day or night. I love that show. All the cameos from all the actors playing different versions of themselves, from Vinnie Jones being the tough, just being Vinnie Jones, to him coming up against Grant Mitchell himself, Ross Kemp, and Ross Kemp being a wuss, to Harry Potter and his condom, and let alone Stephen Merchant and Barry from EastEnders. Extras all the way.
Legends.
My number 3. I don't know if either of you would have watched this. It's Friday Night Dinner. It's a British. Yeah.
Of course, I've watched Friday Night Dinner. I've literally just finished the latest season of it.
Yeah.
And I was gutted when I got to the end because I didn't watch it enough, like religiously, to know that the dad who played Marty,
Paul Ritter,
he's died.
Yeah,
and I was
rest in
like,
peace,
so there's never going to be any more. I've just finished season 6 and there's not going to be any more. It's a shame.
Yeah, just on that then. So like Friday Night Dinner I was heavily considering sticking it in because it is one of my favourite comedies, no doubt. The only thing that stopped it going on was the kind of steady decline as like, I feel like, is it Robert Popper, the writer of it, was like, it felt like he was just trying to pull some ideas out of nowhere. And like what started off as kind of leveled could happen in your house ended up being some wild misadventures and kind of really outlandish, where it started quite humble comedy, like a family, like a real situation. So yeah, it kind of jumped in the shark, ruined it for me. Well, like, how do you feel about the later seasons?
I've really enjoyed it. Like I said, I've only just watched it. I think it was like the second half of season 5 and 6, like the other 4.5, however you put it. But I watched like a couple of years ago, so I feel like I need to rewatch them all to sort of go down the storyline and see how it differs. But just watching the guy that plays Jim. And then if you, I was Googling, like, I know he's in something else, but I see him in Benidorm and other things. I'm like, he's so good.
He is.
Like Harry's putting that on. Harry's putting that on.
I kind of agree with you, Tony. I think they run out of where they're going to go with it. But it has to be my number 3 because it's one of my most recent things that I've watched and I just love it.
Number 2,
I'm not knocking you down at all.
No, it's a good show, and again, this I think every one of us is hearing us say other things already about the movies, about the sitcoms, and going, "Oh shit, I didn't think about that."
Yeah.
But yeah, we're down to number 2s. Tony, I'm surprised. There's a certain Britishness is over with you. The Britishness is over with you, but so I'm intrigued to know where number 2 goes.
Yeah, it's Parks and Rec.
Nice, great TV show. Never watched it all the way through.
Yeah. What, like as a series or a single episode?
I've watched like the first season, I think, and just never continued with it.
So for my opinion, like I got put on it by a ton of people saying like you got to watch this. This is definitely your kind of comedy. And I watched season 1. I was like, no, I know my mates know me. Like this is kind of awkward because this is a bit shit. But they were like, trust, like season 1 is just a warm up. Everyone's just finding themselves, like I guess with the writing, with their acting, with the characters, and then like from season 2 onwards, it hits home. Like all those memes and all those little videos and gifs you see, are all from like season 2 onwards. Especially of Ron. You know, Ron being a man's man. That's all kind of beyond season 1. So get to it, man. That's your homework for you.
No, okay. Ryan's homework, episode 1, Parks and Rec. I'll get on it. I think it's either on Netflix or Prime at least. I'll be able to watch it.
I think it's gone from Netflix now.
Woody, I skipped ahead of you on the last one. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Big Bang Theory.
Great show.
I didn't know if that would be on one of your lists. I wasn't sure, but yeah, it's my number 2.
Like I said to you, I think I said to you earlier on the phone, I love Big Bang Theory and it would be on there, but just some of these I've watched more over, especially my number 2. How you doing? Friends. I grew up with Friends, and full 10 years of that. I watch that at least twice a year, so I know that's on my list. Friends has got to be up there. Number 1's Tony's smiling. I've got a feeling number 1. Have I just said it, Tony? Have I just said your number 1 is number 2, or is it something completely new? Okay.
So maybe like 10 years ago, Friends would have been on there and perhaps number 1. But yeah, things have changed. This is an old show as well, not quite as old as Friends. But it's episode for episode is the greatest comedy show, is the greatest sitcom. Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, classic.
It's
bad episode, not a bad one.
I only ever see a few episodes of it. I never religiously watched it.
I used to watch it as a kid. It was on Sky 1 all the time.
Yes, Sky 1, BBC 2 as well, I call it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bryan Cranston as the dad, who's also in Breaking Bad. And being able to see him in Malcolm and seeing him in Breaking Bad, you can tell what you knew anyway from Breaking Bad, but what a masterclass of an actor he is to do so well in both, and both are really believable. And how his character in Malcolm just made the show for me.
Yeah, that's when I missed off there.
You see him from Malcolm's dad to Walter White. I see him from Walter White to Zordon from Power Rangers 2017.
Yeah.
That's how I knew he was good. Number one, Woody, come on.
My number one is your number two, Friends.
Good lad. See, okay.
And that's a shout out to my wife, my missus. She loves Friends, and she's the one that I've watched it through her recently. She's always watching it. I have watched it in the past, but she watches it religiously, and I'll just end up catching an episode every now and then.
The thing is, again, with Friends, I can watch every episode. There's no episodes I'd ever skip of Friends, and every single character in it is just perfectly cast.
Have you all got a favourite episode of Friends?
Mine's
the pivot with the chair.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Tony, what's yours? Because I need a little bit of time.
So mine was from a VHS that I had, and there was 3-4 episodes in it, but there was 2 I watched again and again. One was with the Blackout.
Yeah.
It's early Friends. It might be season 1. The Blackout, and Chandler's stuck in the bank with Jill Goodacre. And then there's the episode before or after it with the East German laundry detergent where Ross goes to the laundry with Rachel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, the laundry's done. Yeah.
See, again, I was stuck between two, but two of my favorite moments, or 2 of my favorite episodes, are Joey based. It's the one after Ross finds out that Joey proposed, and he does the air brackets. That episode, when you do this, I don't know what that means. That gets me every single time. And then, whoops! And then the other episode is the one just before the penultimate episode, just before the last double episode, is where Rachel's saying goodbye to everybody, and Joey's at the balcony, and they're like, Joey's taking it really well. And as she goes to go in, he goes to jump over the balcony. That is one of my favorite moments because it's just like pure Joey gold. Like, Joey's taking it really well, and he turns around and just goes to jump. Okay, so we've done your number ones. We've got
what's your
Malcolm
number one?
in the middle. You got over here with Friends. Stick a pony in my pocket. I'll fetch a suitcase from the van. Only Fools and Horses has always been my number one.
Yeah. I should have known that one.
If I watched Friends twice a year, I watch Only Fools and Horses at least 4 times a year. That show has always been my number one for as far back as I can remember.
So the big question for you then, Rye, granddad or uncle?
I couldn't choose. I couldn't choose because to me it's 2 different eras of the show. Like that, them first 3 seasons with Grandad are spectacular. The short episodes with when Albert come in, it's when it started getting longer and the cast started expanding altogether.
Yeah.
So I see it 2 completely different things. Could you choose?
Tough one. I'd go with Albert. I think because, like you say, longer episodes, bigger cast, more stories, and I don't think I saw the Grandad episodes until I'd started watching the Albert episodes. So it was kind of like, oh, this looks really old, and as a kid that mattered.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, like the comedy just grew because the episodes were longer. They could put so much more in it. Comedy gold.
Yeah.
Grandad had some of the best one-liners, like the episode where they go to Spain and he gets done for jaywalking is comedy gold. But then Uncle Albert, the episode where he tells a story about the lion, gets me every single fucking time.
Yeah.
I wet myself. So would I if I come face to face with a lion. No, not when I saw the lion, just now when I went, or when Uncle Albert, when he's like, you got to act like you're absolutely scared. When Rodney tells us he's taking a girl, when Rodney walks in, he's like, not yet. That's one of my favourite moments. That was your top 5 sitcoms. I think we could literally sit here and do a whole episode of Talks with Dorks. Maybe we will on some of our favourite moments from our favourite sitcoms. This was just your top 5s. Boys, I'm happy with my list. Are you thinking about changing yours?
No, I'm happy with that. There's a few that I regret not putting on there, but Yeah, it's brought back some memories.
Yeah, same as Wood. Like, yeah, there's some I wish I'd thought of, but I don't regret my list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. That was a good one.
Like, follow, subscribe. You know what to do. And tell us your top 5 sitcoms. All in air brackets. Whoops. I'm Ryan. That's Woody. That's Tony. Any final words, boys?
See you later.
Tell me about a yogurt chewer.
I guess.
Yogurt chewers.
Bunch of yogurt chewers.